Welcome to another episode of Unscripted with Marilyn Morales. Today, I'm so excited. I'm always excited whenever I have a guest on. And this one, if you are over 40, you need to pay attention, okay? Because the conversation I'm going to have is for those of us in the latter or the middle stages of our life, okay? But before we start on that, I always like to talk about my nonprofit organization, Izzy's Legacy, and the mission that we have. So today I'm going to share one of my board member story on why she joined Izzy's Legacy to work alongside us and our mission. I'm introducing here Julia Gandhi.
As a cancer survivor myself, I wanted to be a part of this organization because I know what it's like to be on that journey, right? And as a family member, as the person going through that journey, you need all the support you can get. I really wanted to be a part of this so that I can help people with their journey. I am the community liaison, so my role will be to work with other agencies, other organizations to get support for our families, for the people that are in our organization so that we can help them through their journey. When I was on my cancer journey, I had received a check for $500 from an organization such as Izzy's Legacy, and I just remember feeling like I wasn't on this journey alone, that there's people out there that care. And so I wanted to be that person. I wanted to help the people that come to Izzy's Legacy for help and just be a part of that. And so I'm really happy, I'm really honored, and I can't wait to see what we do in the future.
As a reminder, we do financially support those on a cancer journey, not just children, anybody who's on a cancer journey. You can go right to izzyslegacyinc.org. There is an application for financial support if you're in need. Go right there, fill out the application, and you will hear from one of us. So let's get right into my next guest. Her name is Juli Madacey. Juli Madacey is a certified holistic health practitioner, a master health coach, menopause coaching specialist. And this is why I say, ladies, listen up. And certified personal trainer dedicated to empowering women in their health journeys. With a deep understanding of the unique challenges women face, Juli combines her expertise with a compassionate, client-centered approach. Juli's path to becoming a health coach stemmed from her personal struggles with weight and health. And which one of us is not going through that right now? Disenchanted with the one-size-fits-all diets and misleading health advice, she embarked on a quest for knowledge. This journey led her to holistic methods that embrace the complexity of individual health, moving beyond mere weight loss to a comprehensive understanding of well-being. At the heart of Juli's philosophy is the belief that mindset is a powerful catalyst for physical transformation. Through small, manageable daily practices, she guides her clients in redefining themselves. All right, so let us welcome Juli to the show. Hello.
Hi, Marilyn. Thanks for bringing me on today.
I'm so excited for our conversation today, and I will tell you personally, I heard you speak recently at a summit that you and I were both on, and I was 100% paying attention, glued to the screen, because I saw what your transformation looked like from before and after, right? And I was like, okay, that's me. I need that help. Me, right? I am also a registered nurse who is a holistic certified, board certified. So everything that you spoke about really spoke to me. But let's talk about how that journey for you started. Where was that aha moment for you when you realized something needed to change?
Well, I had a long journey myself because I was dealing with some health issues in my 30s, and I continued to go to my doctor who practiced conventional medicine asking for support. And I had a passion already for studying health and well-being because I followed my mother's cancer journey when she was 48. I was 19. We lost her, but during her time working with a naturopathic doctor, the health of our entire family improved, and so did hers. And so I always had an interest. So when I knew something was wrong based on the way I felt, and my doctor kept telling me it was all in my head. And after 6 years of asking for support from her and saying, I think I have a thyroid issue, she finally gave me a prescription for an ADD medication and the number of a psychiatrist and said,
Oh my
take this
God.
medication. I said, I don't have ADD. She said, no, but one of the side effects is weight loss. And that's one of your, one of the things you're complaining about. And I think you should go see the psychiatrist because this is all in your head. And I just thought,
Oh my
I was
Lord.
going to her because my insurance covered her services. And I thought, I'm paying with my life for this because it had gone on for so long. And I mean, my skin was gray, dry, my hair was falling out, I had no energy. I just felt like I couldn't function. I was constantly in a fog mentally. Um, and I knew that wasn't normal. She said, this is just part of aging. And I thought, I'm in my 30s. Of course it's not normal. My late 30s, nonetheless. So I finally saved up and went to a holistic doctor I'd heard about. And when I went in to see him, he said, what brings you here? And I said, well, I think I have a thyroid problem, but my doctor said, I don't. She wouldn't do the blood tests I asked her to do. He said, Julie, I can tell by looking at you that you have a thyroid problem. I thought, hallelujah. And I was on 7 different medications at the time, and he took me off of everything, did extensive blood work. It turned out I have a Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune condition of
Right.
the thyroid. And he said, based on the level of my antibodies, like the baseline is 35 of the TPO antibodies, and
Right.
mine were 219. He said, Julie, you've
Wow.
had this for years. So within 2 days of going on to a naturally desiccated thyroid hormone and getting off of all those other medications, within 2 days, my husband looked at me and said, you're different. I can see you in your eyes again. Now, it wasn't a straight journey, but it made me realize that I had been trying to advocate for my health and I kept getting shut down because of our standard of medical care in conventional medicine.
Right.
And after a few years of working with this holistic doctor and being on this journey, the difference in how I felt and how I could move and my entire life turned around. And I just thought, I want other people to know they can feel like this. And I was in corporate HR at the time, and he said, Julie, I think you'd be a great nutrition coach. I thought, I was always told I
Wow.
wasn't good at science, but why not? So he directed me to different schools to try, and that started it all.
The rest is history. So let me go back to this because I always talk about advocating for yourself, right? And
Mhm. Yeah,
especially in our Western medical model, right? Is you know how
yeah.
you feel, right? No one else can feel what you're feeling. And it's extremely frustrating as women that whenever we come with symptoms or wherever we have a little bit of knowledge and we say, hey, I think this is what I think I have, we're shut down, right? Um,
Mhm.
did the doctor, and just a question, did the doctor ever do preliminary blood work or did she just dismiss you altogether?
She did some very basic tests, but she didn't do the
Standard
ones that I asked her to do. Very standard, TSH and T4, I think. And
T3 and
T3 is
T4.
the active T3 is the active thyroid hormone. She didn't test for T3.
She wouldn't
She
test for
did
that.
TSH and T4. And I said, if you do these others, because I'd read about the blood tests to really give a good thyroid panel to see what's actually happening. And she just said, no, those aren't medically necessary.
Right.
And
And this is interesting because you and I are around the same age, right? So I'm going back to when I was 30, same thing happened to me, and I'm a nurse, right? So I
yeah,
went and had just
yeah.
had my son at 30, right? And after I had him, and after I had my daughter, when I had my daughter, I was 28, right? And I lost weight right
Mhm.
after that. Everything was good, right? I now have my son at 31, and everything is different, right? I knew I had a thyroid issue, same thing, brittle hair, hair loss, dry skin, fog, weight gain, right? And I said the same thing, and I kept being told it's the hormones from having a baby. It's your hormones from having a baby. It's because you're breastfeeding. It's because of this, because of that, right? I said, this is not my first child. I know what it feels like after giving birth. And I said the same thing, just run a regular blood test. And she didn't, right? Until I had put myself on a diet. And we're going to talk about diets in a minute, right?
Yes.
But the Slim Fast diet was really big back then, right? So, you're supposed to put yourself on the Slim Fast diet and you lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks kind of thing. Well, I put myself on this and I gained 10 pounds in 2 weeks on Slim Fast. And at that point is when she listened to me. I said, I gained 10 pounds. I didn't lose 10 pounds. You're gonna do this blood work. And then I was given a phone call the next day. Oh my God, get in here. You need medication. Your TSH, my TSH was astronomical. So very, very frustrating. But, my basics came back very abnormal, but even that they didn't want to run because they kept blaming it on something else.
But think about how they set those standards for blood work. They take the averages of to get the ranges for what is considered okay. They take the averages of all the tests that are done in the prior year or prior 2 years. Well, who's getting their blood work done? Not usually healthy people. So
No.
those ranges are not optimal ranges. Those ranges are just saying, okay, you're not going to die. You're not in a disease state, but it also doesn't indicate health. So if you're on the low end of a normal range by standards on blood tests, you've got some issues there. There's potentially something going on. And the other thing that it makes me crazy is people are trying to complicate health and life. There are 2 causes of disease, period. There's either an insult to the body in the form of a virus or a bacteria or some kind of genetic anomaly, or there's a nutrient deficiency that causes miscommunication in a metabolic pathway or enzyme pathways. Then there isn't anything else. There isn't anything else. And so the things that we put into our body, the things we put on our body, the environments we live in, contribute to health or disease in a great way. And we don't give enough. We try to find these, novel diseases and special circumstances that we're all unique and no, I have to have this special medication. But what we need to do is we need to get down to that foundation and actually build a foundation of vibrant health instead of medicating disease.
That's right.
And we don't take that step to go to preventive care. Right. That's why it's called the Center for Disease Control. It's not about health. It's not about the Center for Optimal Health. It's the Center for Disease Control. It's
Oh my God, I love that.
Model.
It's backwards, right? Yeah. So prevention, wellness, the maintenance of wellness is what we need to focus on, not the treatment of disease. We have to treat it before it even gets there. We have to get ourselves right. And over the years, our diets are just terrible. Right. Let's just be honest. Our diets are terrible, especially the way that we work. Right. And as a nurse, I'm eating as I'm going. Right. I'm not taking a whole lunch break. Right. I'm trying to find something that's quick. So how could I possibly be healthy? Right. You touched on something that I think is also important. Mom had cancer. Right. And as myself, my daughter who had leukemia, my father who suffers from multiple myeloma, right? We have a genetic predisposition for cancer. And one of the things that I know is that when you have this genetic predisposition, doesn't mean that we're going to get it or we're not going to get it, right? We don't know what's going to turn that cancer key on, but you have to live differently. And you touched on that. So share a little bit more about what that looked like.
Well, a lot of our habits are acquired through our upbringing. So usually families who have obese and unhealthy family members are going to be generally obese and unhealthy because they're learning those practices from the people who are teaching them their life
Right.
skills. And breaking out of that, and I've worked with clients who've just said, well, it's genetic. This is just how everyone in my family is. The beauty of
Mm.
the study of epigenetics means that those genes can be turned on and off. Certain genes can be turned on and off. 80% of our disease in this society is based on lifestyle factors. 80%, which means it can
Wow.
be 80, that means 80% of those diseases can be prevented or reversed at some stage
Wow.
if we actually focus on the things that give our bodies what they need. And this is especially important in this phase of life because we lose as we go through the menopause years, and perimenopause can start as early as the 30s, and postmenopause continues until the day you die. So it's a huge piece of our lives, and doctors are treating it like a medical condition. It's not. It's a life phase, the same as puberty, the same as childbearing years. It's a part of our lives. And in,
Right.
but because we have these vague symptoms, it's not well understood. And that's why I got the menopause coaching certification, because when I went through menopause, oh my gosh, I could swear my hot flashes alone were responsible for global warming. It was unbelievable. And I thought, okay, I don't want anybody else to have to deal with it to that extent, because we may not be able to control all of our symptoms, but we can make an impact, and we can affect how they affect our lives, and we can manage them better so that we can at least control some of the intensity based on lifestyle factors. But we have to understand them first. And talk about advocating. Anybody listening, you are the world expert in your body. Nobody else lives in your skin. Nobody else understands all of the factors of your life and history and experience and education and social relationships and environment, everything. No one else has that unique pattern. And so doctors who get their 7 minutes with you in your appointment, or whatever it is these days, can't possibly understand you as an entire person,
Right.
because they don't get the chance to really know. So when you are feeling that something isn't right, chances are pretty good that something isn't right. And so you need to be, it's one of the reasons why coaching is so good, because it can be that sort of intermediate step to become more educated and get more in tune and do the things that you can do to build that foundation of health, so that when you go to your doctor, you've got information, you've got experience, you can say, these are the things I've done to support my health. Obviously a health coach can't ever replace a medical doctor, because there are certain tests you need to do, and things that need to be determined by laboratory tests with your medical doctor. But it can make for such a stronger relationship with you and your health and your body. And some of us don't even know how to tune in and listen to our bodies, even though
Right.
we're the experts, because we've been taught to just ignore it. Oh, those aches and pains are just part of everyday living. Or we're so used to, we don't even, and this was the thing in my experience with the thyroid stuff, because I also live with chronic pain. I didn't realize how bad I felt until I started feeling better.
Right. You don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So a lot of things we just take as normal part of daily life, feeling fatigued, feeling stressed, feeling overwhelmed, those aren't normal. And so when you learn the techniques and tools to deal with those things, you can make a lot of changes with your own knowledge, getting to know your body and when it needs support, so that you
Right.
can advocate for that.
I think the biggest thing that I took away from what you just said is a reminder to people, yeah, the doctor only knows you for minutes at a time. And we have to stop relying. We need our doctors. We love our doctors, right? But we also
Yes,
we're
yes.
partners with this physician. I hear all the time, well, my doctor said so and so, so that's what I'm going to do. What about you? Where are you in this equation? Where's your
Yeah.
own responsibility for your own health? And that's what you're talking about. Take
Yes.
accountability and responsibility. Look at how you live your day, your everyday, and make some
Yeah.
tweaks and changes so that you can feel better. If you really want to feel better and you really want to be healthy, and you know that your family has these predispositions to become diabetic, to have cancer in your family, things that do run in our families, right?
Mhm.
These things get turned on like a key, right? So how
Sure.
can we prevent them? 80%, that's such a high percentage. That's really
Yeah.
high, right?
It's very high.
Wow. That's
We
crazy
have
to me.
so much more power and control. But as you said, Marilyn, we hand it over to our doctors. Like, and we would say that about food. Oh, I'm powerless around chocolate or cookies or, whatever it may be. Do you really want to give that power away
Yes.
to someone or something else? Or do you want to stand up and take it and say, okay? And, living a healthy, vibrant, energized life doesn't mean giving up everything you love or everything you think you love at the moment. Taking it in small, simple steps, because I think where a lot of people fall down is they try to make these sweeping changes. I'm never eating this again, or I have to give up that thing, instead of thinking about, let's stoke the fire first before we worry about what to get rid of. Let's stoke the fires. Let's add in good, solid nutrition. Let's add in some movement for our bodies to bring that energy in. Let's add in some quality, restful sleep and see how we feel. Because once that change starts happening step by step, you find that some of that other stuff just goes away on its own, and you don't have to feel deprived about it. There are no rules, because there's no one size fits all. It looks different for everybody.
Right. Right. Now, tell me, if you were coaching me, I'm a 55-year-old woman who has a
Mm-hmm.
very stressful type of job, right? If you would tell me, this is a quick thing that I want you to add in today, that I can take away today, what would you tell me to add to my diet that would start jump-starting my health? Can you think of 3 things?
Well, I can easily think of 3 things, and it part of it will depend on your lifestyle and your ability, because when I coach people, they get to choose what changes to make, what they feel will have the most impact, what area of their life they want to improve the most, because these changes are small, tiny changes, because that's where we have to start. So the first one is
Yes.
drink more water. Always
Hydration.
drink more water,
Hydration.
because every cell in your body needs water. Every cell in your body. And most of us don't drink enough, and no carbonated beverages and
I was about
teas
to
and
say,
sodas
that
don't
doesn't mean the
count.
water in your soda. It doesn't mean the water in your coffee. That's not water.
No,
Right.
and remember, back in our hunter-gatherer days, we were eating a lot more plant foods that were high in water, which is
Yes.
why we sometimes mistake thirst for hunger. But if you think you're hungry, drink a glass of water first and then see how you feel. But add more water. That would be number 1.
Love that.
Number 2, eat more vegetables. Add 1 serving of vegetables. It doesn't matter which meal, it doesn't matter what it is. Eat 1 extra serving of vegetables per day. Just start there. And if you don't think you like vegetables, there are all kinds of ways we can sort of hide them in other things that we eat. You won't even know they're there. And then the third thing is to choose a 5-minute habit. I give this is the first thing I do with all of my clients. And that could be something like taking vitamins you forget to take. It could be sitting quietly and focusing on your breath for 5 minutes, or meditating, or going for a 5-minute walk. Walk out of your door for 2.5 minutes, turn around and walk back. It could be laying out some exercise clothes or putting your shoes by the door to remind you in the morning, or preparing a healthy snack or lunch. It could be anything. Sitting and reading, anything that you enjoy doing that supports your well-being and doesn't involve eating junk. That's the only caveat. And so 5 minutes. And when you get used to doing that thing for 5 minutes a day, you can build from there. And if you don't think you have 5 minutes in your schedule, then we really need to have a conversation.
Everybody has 5 minutes. I was just saying that, right? Even if you take your 15-minute break, your lunch break, go outside for 5 minutes. Like, that is a great habit to start. Is every day 5 minutes, go outside and do some deep breathing. Just that alone, increasing the oxygen. We do not deep breathe. We take very shallow breaths throughout the day. If you really pay attention to your breathing, these really deep oxygenating breaths are necessary, right?
Yeah.
But we got to pay attention to them, because that's something we think about, right? So be intentional. Take 5 minutes and breathe. I would say for me, breathing, hydration, salad. Easy. These are easy steps to incorporate into a lifestyle.
They will make tremendous difference, especially if they're not things that you're doing regularly now. You'll notice Simple, small, simple, tiny steps. I always say, if you want to get to your goals faster, slow down and take smaller steps.
There you go. And for those of us in menopause who think that we're crazy, we are. We're not going crazy. We are. There's
Oh,
changes,
and
just like you say, it's a life stage, right?
it's a life stage, and we can learn to deal with it once we learn to say that it's okay. I'm feeling different. My body's changing. My life is changing. I've accumulated more experience and wisdom. It's
Love
like,
that.
what am I going to do with this new chapter? We get to decide.
Yes. Yes. Very, very exciting. For you, what were the changes that you feel were most beneficial to you? Were those little steps as well that you took, or was there something that stands out to you as the biggest thing? This is the thing. Like for me, when I talk about my bigger thing was PTSD and anxiety that I dealt with after the 9/11. Right, I was a nurse
Mhm.
down in Manhattan
Sure.
during that
Sure.
thing. So the things that helped me recover from that, aromatherapy was big for me. Aromatherapy really, really, really speaks to me. It doesn't speak to everybody, but it did to me. So whenever somebody asks me, what was that big thing for you? For me, it was the discovery how aromatherapy really worked in my life and incorporating that into my daily practice every single day now. I use it. Can you identify one thing that stood out for you?
I The big thing that changed for me, by the way, I'm also a certified aromatherapist, so I totally
Oh,
understand how that can have a big impact. For me, it was learning to feel good in my own body. It was self-acceptance. That's a
self-acceptance.
such an important place to start any journey. Instead of wishing we were somewhere else, it's acknowledging where we are and saying it's okay. There's no judgment required there. And I used mirror work to get there.
Explain to my
Um,
viewers what mirror work is if they don't know.
Yes, the mirror work is it's extremely powerful. It will start out as being emotional and uncomfortable, but it will progress over the course of 30 days to change your life. And it did for me. And if we have time, I'll tell the story. But the mirror work itself, you stand in front of a full-length mirror, either in your underwear or naked, and please make sure you have some privacy when you're going to do this. And you look
I'm
at
already going,
yourself
wait a
and
minute, wait a
yeah.
minute.
So you look at yourself, and for 2 to 3 minutes, you say positive things to yourself about yourself. And at the end of the session, you look yourself in the eye, you say your name, and then you say, I love you. And then a deep breath helps at that point, and you're done. And you have to do it for 30 days in a row. If you miss a day, the count starts over. And when I started doing this, I hated my body. I had no self esteem to speak of. I really didn't think I'd ever be loved or lovable. And the first session, I stood there for probably 10 minutes without being able to think of a single positive thing to say. And I was crying and I felt stupid, but I promised myself I was going to try this because it was recommended to me by someone. And so I, took a deep breath and I started with the color of my eyes, the fact that I'd gone to work that day, superficial things. But by the end of 30 days, I started to realize that there were things about myself that I liked that I had refused to acknowledge. I started to like myself as a person, and I felt completely different. As a matter of fact, by the end of the 30 days, I was taking better care of myself. I was eating better. I was exercising more consistently because I finally realized I was worthy.
Wow. Wow. That's impactful. I will tell you that really hit me because I avoid mirrors. I avoid them. If I go in there and it's to do my makeup quickly or something like that, and then I'm out of there, right? I have a full length mirror in my bathroom that I side eye just to make sure that the clothes are looking right or whatever, and I avoid them. And if I go to a store, when you
Yeah.
go to the department stores and there's a mirror, I
Yeah.
quickly go because I feel awful. I hate going into those changing rooms where you're going to go try something on because I know that I'm going to walk out of there feeling horrible, right? But it doesn't. It's just terrible. So instead of thinking terrible about myself, being able to change that and look and actually look at myself and say, I like this about you.
We get more of what we focus on. And your brain is designed, your subconscious mind is designed to create the reality you tell it to. So if you say things like, I'm fat, I'm stupid, I'm no good at this, or I'm addicted, or I am, whatever you say after I am, your brain is listening and it's going to set out to make sure you're right. So it'll help you create the behaviors that reinforce that. It will help you see all of the instances of when that's true for you. And so when we can change that inner monologue, which is something I work on really focused on with my clients. Once you change that inner monologue, we take care of things we love.
Right.
And if you looked at another person, if that mirror was another person, how would they feel if you looked and went, ugh?
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking to myself while you were speaking, if that were my child I was looking at. When I look at my children, all I see is the beauty in them. All I see is the good
Yes.
in them. I don't see the bad. And sometimes when they say, oh, I hate this about myself, oh my God, but I think that's such a great asset. I look at you so differently. And I've had that myself where people will say that they like something about me and it's uncomfortable, right? It's a little uncomfortable. I have trouble accepting positive comments, and I always have, right? It feels a little uncomfortable. And just to share, I don't speak to myself negatively, but I don't speak to myself at all. It's just as bad, right? So I don't tell myself, oh, you're ugly or you're fat or you're this. I just turn away and walk away. So that's just as bad because I'm ignoring myself.
Yes. Yes. And it sends energy throughout your body, and that energy affects how your body functions. We are energetic beings. Neural pathways are electricity in motion, right? And so our thoughts are electricity generated in our brain, and that affects how our body responds and how it works. It's one of the reasons why aromatherapy is so effective, because that olfactory nerve goes straight into the brain,
The brain.
and it's very powerful to bring up pleasant thoughts or difficult memories. Sometimes if you smell a smell, you're immediately triggered for something. It could be either positive or negative, but being able to use that in a positive way, being able to focus on gratitude and especially the things about yourself that you're grateful for, and embracing our imperfections. We don't need to be perfect. Perfection is, first of all, impossible, and secondly, by whose standards? And
Right.
it sounds boring to me anyway. Who wants all that pressure?
Right.
Embracing our imperfections. But the other thing, the reason I like the mirror work so much is because it isn't just recognizing our imperfections or what we perceive as our flaws. It's also recognizing all of the good things, our accomplishments and achievements and intelligence and the gifts you bring to the world and all the things other people love about you. You deserve to feel those things about yourself.
That's amazing. Everybody out there, I want you to start trying this. I'm going to start trying it. I'm going to start today. I'm going to start today. And for those of us that are moms out there that we love our children the way that I say, right? I'm going to look at myself as if I were my own child. I'm going to look at myself that
Awesome.
way. I'm going to view myself in that way, the way my mother viewed me. She never saw bad in me either. So I'm going to do the same exact thing and give myself some grace. I'm going to start today.
I love it.
And I want you guys to do the
Excellent.
same thing and get into the comments and let me know how that worked out for you, right? We want to know. Julie,
Yeah.
this
Yes.
was a fantastic conversation. I thank you so much for
Thank
coming on to
you.
the show. I need to have you back because there's so many
Anytime.
things
Anytime.
we could talk all day, right? Um, so share with my viewers, and this is the question I ask all my guests: is what is your definition of success?
For me, success means living in alignment with your values and being comfortable enough in yourself, in your body, in your own skin, in your own mind, to be able to share your gifts with the world, because service is our highest gift we can give. And when we do that from a place of confidence and empowerment, it changes the world around us. So living in alignment with your values and doing things that bring you joy, share that energy with the rest of the world.
Amen. Beautiful. Love that. Thank you again for coming on today. And for my viewers, I will see you next time.